bear with me. So I think I'm going live on my YouTube page as well. So excellent, family. Let's jump into this science real quick. Let me get a little bit of libations. But before we jump into it, man, I'm going to stay on point today, man, because we illuminate some, how can I say it? I like to call it spookism or misconceptions of what the Moorish Science Temple is, or when people be talking about who spread misinformation, talking about this person is a temple Moor. I don't even know what that means. And when I tell people everything is a type of type, everything is not bad. And you must investigate and study. And if you know those temples or someone that may be acting a certain way, we should speak on that to clear misconceptions up. This is no secret society. About, and we're going to do some history how the prophet set the temple up. And I'm not here to convince anyone nothing of anything, excuse me, but I'm here to, I do the research, and I challenge my brothers and sisters to study, to look up the research, to see how the temple is structured and why the temple was structured in a certain way, and why we should understand commerce and we should understand law. Because you can get caught up in things that's not even, how can I say it? It's not even valid today in law. So we have to know those things. That's why we must study. We must study. Peace, Empress. Peace. Peace. So this is what we're going to do real fast, family. We're going to clear up some misconceptions, and before we do all that, let's set things in the atmosphere. And this is a divine warning by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Peace, Empress. Peace, Empress. I hereby inform all members that they must end all racial agitating speeches while at work or in the streets. We are for peace and not destruction. Stop flashing your cards at Europeans. It causes confusion. Remember, your card is for your salvation. Failure to obey these orders will be of severe consequences. Peace, family. We are for love, truth, peace, freedom, and my 2 cents. Health and wealth. And when these principles are violated, justice must then take its course. Peace, family. Peace, family. Any member who or group of members who hold malicious feelings toward the temple or the prophet. Now remember, Moors, that's why I tell us to study, because when we says the temple or the prophet, we're talking esoterically and exoterically. We're talking inwardly and outwardly. That's why we have to study and understand what a holy and divine creed is. I have literature, and that's what I tell family. I've done authored 9 books about our divine creed, about the Sufism, about the House of Ali of mysticism, the Adapt Chamber. I've written these literature, and I do lectures on college campuses, and I tell brothers and sisters, my writings are not biased. If you accept it or you don't, my stuff, everything that we create is science. And that's what we have to understand. We have to understand the esoteric and the exoteric, brothers and sisters. There's no, I have to be honest with brothers and sisters. We all supposed to have an expertise. So when we talk about master masons and our workman tools, we're talking about fixing ourselves. That's why nothing we do is in clandestine, Moors. We have to, this is a science. This is a science. Brother, you can go on my page, and I upload stuff on Instagram, how to order, fam. I give deals. I have books, PDFs. Right now, we're in process of one more book, and it's all science. Brother, you can go right on my page. I got all the information. If you go on my Instagram page, it can tell you how to order. Islam, fam. It tell you how to order. I mean, I got vegan cookbook, snacks. I got vegan healthy book, a vegan snack book, our divine creed. I got books about how Asiatic scholars debunk Eurocentric propaganda. I mean, we're authoring books, man. And the most times where I've been doing my lectures and things are on college campuses. And when I tell brothers and sisters, we created this education They try to connotate things to us. And I tell brothers and sisters, if you don't know language and words, you will get caught up in linguistic apartheid. Someone just talking quick with a silver tongue and eloquently, but not explaining what those words mean, not explaining what connotated and denotation mean. We got to know what connotation and denotation is and linguistic apartheid. So, an etymology of words. That's how we know what the words mean in those times and what they mean now when we're talking on a metaphysical and a physical level. When we're talking about the pendulum, when we're talking about the degree, when we're talking about the compass, when we're talking about our thermostat in our house. The thermostat in our house, it don't go out inside itself for cold or for hot, do it? It's just a degree. It's just a degree. And just like us, our pendulum, our higher self and our lower self, we can control that pendulum, man. We're talking about science, Moors. The esoteric and the exoteric. Not no 32 and 33 degrees. That's what you get in the temple. That's what you get. That's just a level above freezing, Moors. So I'm not here to argue with anyone. We have 99 rights. The ancient primitive right of Memphis and Mizraim. You look that stuff up, family. We're here to study, and I'm not here to convert no one to anything. I'm here to challenge brothers and sisters to study and understand what the holy divine movement is. It's both. We have to understand the national side and the spiritual side. That's the synchronicity, Moors. So before we jump in this, family, we have to understand this science. And I can't speak on this right now because we're going to jump into just what we have to understand this science, Moors. We have to understand the mastering ourselves. That's what this is all about. That's what this is all about. It's about mastering yourself, Moors. What you think he was talking about? How you think you're going to save somebody you ain't saved yourself? You got to understand what an analogy is, what allegory is, what a parable is, what a symbology is. We have to understand what these signs and symbols mean. Don't let nobody get you caught up in no spookism with their connotation. Don't do that, family. That's dogma. This is not Islam. This is not no religion that's outside of yourself. If Moors and anyone that's searching for true light understand the triple rows of the adapt chamber, understanding the three so-called religious rights, I'm right, Moors? The Christian right, the Fatima right, the Judaism right, the synchronicity. We study all law, business law, civics, criminal law. This is nothing when a person just takes something and say, oh, okay, I read a paragraph. No, we're supposed to be coming together as students. And when people be asking me questions in this family, I don't answer certain questions because I say, listen here, we should be willing to sacrifice. We should be willing to be a school and come together. No matter if you in Arizona where I'm located or online. This is no scheme. I wouldn't study. So I'm not here to convert no one. I'm here to challenge a person, to give you the literature, to give you the research. Say, don't get caught up in no religion. Let me tell you some history, because I don't care what religion you are. The only religious place you can find those religious characters are in the religious Bible. But we can find talks about the Abraham Lincoln defend the Moore in court. I hope you family been on my page. I share these lectures. I share the documents. Abraham Lincoln defended the Moore in court. I know we know that. That's a precedented case, family. Look those things up. I mean, this is this is nothing to be arguing and walking around upset about. It's putting yourself back in your rightful place. Come on, family. We must understand this science. Science, science, science. Because in more science, in Sufism, in Islamism, gods of earth, God and man is one. We must know that. There's no separation in more science. Yes, more. People look these things up. I tell people, you don't have to like me. No one have to like how I dress. Well, no one have to like the way I speak, my vernacular, when I talk about understanding economics and understanding language. But these cases are precedented cases. Nothing is hidden. Everything is written. Their pen will tell you who you are. When I see some of my brothers, and no disrespect to some of my brothers, and they call themselves Hebrew Israelites when they be on the corners arguing, I say, brother, their pen tell them who they are. Why are you arguing? If you get their books, their encyclopedias, they tell you who they are. There's no reason to argue. There's no reason to argue. Their pen, if you get their pen, they tell you what they are. Research this. And that's when I say when you're a scientist, you coming in all law. You're not coming with modern history. You're coming with ancient history. And a lot of brothers and sisters be in modern history. There you go, brother. Teach, Brother Bronze. Not a crime to be a Moor, although it might be a crime to be a Negro or a black man or African American because you were chattel. How long? For life. Dred Scott law. I keep telling brothers and sisters, there's no family. When I talk science, man, I know other nationalities that claim their nationality. I'm telling you, you can claim your nationality. It replaces the birth certificate. If you go on the government website, research this. I teach this to all students. Everyone know this. Everyone know this. This is a fact. When we talking about United Nations law, so nothing is a secret. If any more telling you is something a secret, he's under some society, some European masonry. The more science eye is not under any corners. Where our eye, if you can see the eye on my wall up there, our eye is not trapped under. These is birthrights. Come on, family. We got to know this stuff, man. We don't wear our fez or our turban in clandestine. Come on, man. We operate on love, truth, peace, freedom, justice, health, and wealth. So I hope we understand that. So let's finish kicking the ballistics, family. But like with our cards, what it says. Okay, I said, remember you're accounted for your salvation. Failure to obey these will severe love consequences, blah, etc. Any member who or group who hold malicious feelings towards the temple or the prophet or violate the divine covenant of the Moorish science, Moorish movement will receive their reward from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors will and must obey the laws as laid down by their prophet. If they lose confidence in their prophet, they should turn in their cards and button, cease wearing our turbans, our fezzes, and return to the state where he found us. Listen, this is a holy, I repeat, a holy and divine movement. We got to know what the holy and divine movement, if we say we Moors, family. One nationality with many cultures. So when people going around confusing us, going around saying that I'm under a tribe, that's not a nationality. Exactly. Exactly, Moor. So we got to know this. When I be talking about nationality, I say, man, everybody, the German, where he go, Germany, the Russian, Russia, everybody has a nationality. I'm not going to teach too much high science because like I said, man, we just started classes July 15th. We're going to be at the YMCA. We got students. I'm going to spread that later. But it's high science. Everyone has a nationality. Everyone has a right to a nationality. If we listen and understand civics, what real civics is, the president, when Obama was president, he was telling us that in 2010. I got all the documents. The right of indigenous people, the right of a nationality. Who? Everyone. I'm telling you, man. But we so caught up in spookism, we so caught up in trying to prove someone wrong. We don't even know what COINTEL is. Don't you know, COINTEL is the brother that started Kwanzaa. Brothers that get people killed. Brothers that infiltrate. That's what that is. You brother going around calling people COINTEL because you don't agree with another brother because your research is here, his research here, and someone might be in ancient history and you in modern times. You speaking modern Hebrew, which is gibberish, instead of paleo. Come on, man. Y'all know what I'm saying. We don't understand business. Brothers and sisters going around. I see it. And I'm not talking about anyone. But how you think you're going to do commerce and you're not able and you're not structured right to do commerce? Explain to me. You think you're some ghost person? You don't even know. And when I tell people you can have your business and your business set up in your fictitious name, but we don't understand that. Things are law. And then I see brothers dissing organizations, what nonprofit organization is. I said, brothers, you got to understand why certain people diss those things. You gotta see why a person would disorganize and have an organization in their neighborhoods, in their communities. Like I'm from Flint, Michigan, right now where property is cheap and we're buying the land for nothing. We're gonna do guards under our organization, under our nonprofit organization, because I'm a business. Y'all don't, and most more arguing. I say, man, I'm not here to argue. You can look me up. I do lectures on college campuses about starting nonprofit organization. I teach all nationalities, and when I go to the schools in the neighborhoods, we want brought up like that. We want to hear that. We want to talk about some religion. But when I talk about this in the other school systems, the first thing what they talk about is this. We've been getting the contracts in your community. We've been getting contracts in your community. So how do you do commerce? How do you do commerce? How do you do construction? How do you get those contracts in your community? A person can say things what they want, but how do you get contracts in your community instead of working for someone? And see, brothers, I'm telling you, I'm in law school. When we talk about all caps, I got to stick to the point. I'm going to jump back to it. Do a little more research because all caps really don't mean nothing. I'll pull up the papers. When a person arguing all caps, the first thing the judge say, is that your name? Yes. Is that your name? Yes. No matter if in all caps is you. You can research that. So arguing all caps is really not the fight we fight in law. And all a person have to do is just look that up and just a little bit deeper in law. That's all. That's all we have to do. Because we be right in a certain aspect. But in law, it's a couple more things you can peel back to make sure you all the way factual. Because in a court of law, there's no excuse of not knowing that degree of the law. That's all. But I'm definitely not here to argue or disagree with anybody. I'm definitely not here to do that with any brother. That's why I say we study, and I study with brothers and sisters, and we sit down at the round table. That's all. And that's what we should be here to do, man. We should be sitting here to come to a round table to make sure we all operate in one body with many parts. That's all, because everyone has their expertise. So when I talk about law, it's a degree of law. There's so many different aspects of law. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'll say. Get a trustee on the law of identification. I'm going to have that, all the rest of it. I'm doing a document on it, in my class, but research that. And a lot of UCC stuff is not valid. I mean, we're going to touch on deeper things of law. That's why I say we must study. And some stuff is advanced civics. And that's why I tell brothers and sisters, there's nothing wrong with prereqs. There's nothing wrong with checking and balancing yourself. Because that's why I say this is a science. That's all I'll be saying. I'm not here to disagree with no one. Yes, it's some UCC things, right? But there's also some UCC things that's not valid. And we must study that degree of the law. That's all. Like I said, I'm not here to argue with anyone. I'm here to study. And we must study. We must be willing to study. We must be willing to remove our personal feelings and become scientists and do checks and balances in everything. Come on, man. I hope we're on the same page, family. And I hope we're not putting our feelings into this study, into this science. So let's talk about the Moorish Science Temple of America and how it was set up. Because this is what one of my brothers asked me about. He was like, there's so many people just going around saying, oh, the temple Moors and all that. I'm like, I don't know what that is. Man, we got stacks of paper, our amnesty of oath, so much. So if you want to know that, and if you want to get nationalized, all I tell brothers, go. I'm here to argue with nobody, because if you study and you study under the right auspices, if you're studying right, then you will understand it to do things a certain way. That's all. That's when I tell brothers we must study words. What you mean type? What you mean type? Here go example or an analogy. It's a type of husband, a type of wife, a type of car. Do we stop dealing with those situations of those type of things we want if one is not right? No, we continue to search for the righteousness, or we continue to search for what we're looking for. So if brothers and sisters going around putting titles on people saying, oh, these Temple Moors and this COINTEL. Well, if you know that and if you've been to those places, why don't you let people know what it is for it can be out there instead of just throwing accusations on certain individuals? And this was a question that was asked to me, and that's what my response. You know, if you've been to a temple and brothers trying to do a certain way or say a certain thing, then we should speak on that. But we really must know what words mean and why people bash things, you know, because I've been to certain temples. I've been around with brothers that's not a part of temples, and some are good and some are bad, but all are not good and all are not bad. You must know and have that spirit of discernment, and you must study and ask the right questions under love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Because if a brother is going around asking or per saying or putting a title on himself, then he should be willing to sit down and break those laws and degrees down and understand and break those workman tools down for you and break those Kemetic principles down. We should know these things. These are the things that we should know. So let's get into a little bit of what brothers are confusing with the temples and how the temple is set up and this and that and the other. And I'm like, look, hey, whatever. Bro, now this is a good question, brother, and I'm going to stick back to the point. The Kabbalah is all the science connotated, family. That's what it's the Kemetic. The Kabbalah is brother, I got the literature. The Kabbalah is the Kemetic principles. They tried to say the Hermetic principles. Yes, they're connotated. Just like the Baphomet, Eliseus Levi is connotated from the god of the river Nile, the Napi god, which that's his Greek. So a lot of things is connotated, but the Kabbalah is good. Just like the Baphomet is written Kabbalistically. It's really the Temple of David, Omni Hafet. I did a lecture on that. I'll go back to it. So a lot of Kabbalistically is just science, and a lot of things is written Kabbalistically. Research that science. Research that esoteric science. I'll break it down in another lecture. But the Baphomet is spelled Kabbalistically. Research that. So that's science that's connotated. It's just like the Celtic magic, you know, just like the Celtic magic. Let me see. Fam, it's like the Celtic magic. Let me see. When you look on the books, a lot of things that kept us away because you see a lighter skinned person dressed up in Moorish attire. That's still Moorish science. That's still Moorish science, family. And you don't have to agree with me. Just like Peter Moon book, the Sacred Drift. I got those over there, like Peter Moon, the Sacred Drift. It's a lot of things that goes down that way. So we must understand. You know, we must understand those things, family. So when we understand the Kabbalah and all those literatures, if you're studying more science, you're getting all that. I tell brothers and sisters, if you study under a brother that's giving you the science, especially under the temple, you're going to get the 32 and 33 degrees. Flat out. But that's only a level above freezing. It's more to that. You can research the scientists, the European that went to Egypt and stole the higher science and connotated the literature. I mean, I've done lectures on these on college campuses. Just like when you research in the encyclopedias, they tell you in school the greatest writer was Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, all bullcrap. Never was real, just a pen. And you have to go back farther in history. You have to go back farther in history, Moors. And once you understand and do the synchronicity, then you operate and your heart can be healed and you can operate as a business. And you don't argue with anyone on their feelings or what someone said this and someone said that. I really don't care what someone says. I'm from a community in Flint, Michigan that's dead. The water messed up. All the houses worth nothing. And you think we're going to let other nationalities come in and buy our neighborhood and we're not going to get those contracts and buy blocks and have our charter neighborhoods and be able to put a private property? Come on, man. Y'all got to be crazy. You don't understand commerce and contracts? We don't understand this, man. We just argue. And so I say, well, how are you making your money? Tell me how you making your money. And then the brother tell you all about their Social Security. I said, all of them, and I got to say this, all them Negroes working. You can check them. I work, man, I'm telling you, I work in law, I study. I'm getting my other advanced degree in Indigenous People Law and Policy. So we go to court cases and we see certain things. Man, brothers filing income taxes. They're going around telling you what not to do, and you afraid to say, well, if you're not doing that, let me see. And if a brother come arguably, why would a brother tell you to do something he's not doing? I would never tell my brother or my sister or anyone, no empress, no mobitis, no fellow brother noble, to do something that I'm not doing. I would never do that. I would tell you to understand that you are a business and you can set yourself up in a business and you can sell all your assets in private and take it out of public under the law and understand what a living trust is, and don't just get up excited, but really study the law. How else are you going to know the law if you don't study the law? If you don't study the color of law, how else would you know it? How else? And that's when I talk about scientists. You must, if you want to know certain things, you must be willing to do the work and be a scientist and become a craftsman of that science. That's all. So you can know, so you can't get caught up in linguistic apartheid. You can't get caught up in a person connotating something to you. You can't get caught up in the analogy or parable. Someone explaining something to you, analogizing something, or then you don't understand the symbology of a symbol. You think it's something the devil. You think it's something evil. Come on, man. And that's when we talk about the science of this, of the Moorish science. The color of the law is the degree, but the science is the other degree. That's the holy and divine. So let's get back into the ballistics, because I want to share some of this, and clear up some misconfusion. This is how Noble Drew Ali set the temple up. I don't know how no other brother set their temple up. I'm not into that. But if we go, words are spells. And so, but if you don't know the spells, how can you understand and connect what a person is saying? When we speak on words has duality. Understand the context of a word, or the context of a situation, or the context of an agreement, or the context of a contract. We must understand the context, the context, the context. Everything's about the context. Everything is a type. We must understand that and be willing to do the work. So if we don't understand the context of a situation or the color of law, then that's our fault. And then we should study it. But let's get back into science. Let me see. I'm going to expound on the Moorish science, America declared recognized free national government, blah, 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 blah. Let me see. I hope we know that a beggar nation cannot attain to its highest spirituality. And it says it will keep the Europeans here long enough to teach you how to run a government. How to run a government. Man, I had to jump through it, man, because I hope we know this. If not, I'll start from the beginning. We greet all Moors in love, truth, peace, freedom, justice, my 2 cents, health, and wealth. With high honors to the great God Allah, the Father of the universe, and the holy divine prophet Noble Drew Ali, we wish to expound on how the Moorish Science Temple of America was declared a recognized free national government throughout the earth. Sometimes as Moorish Americans, in this new era of time, we struggle on explaining who we are within such an ignorant and unconscious society, being based in the color of law and the concept of Christianity. But in reality, if we teach and do this great work as a government properly does, while running this ecclesiastically, body politic, and corporate, then people of all levels will understand by our works and deeds and may be fulfilled on this divine and national movement as well, Moors. The Holy Prophet Noble Drew Ali stated, and I quote, "A beggar nation cannot attain to its highest spirituality. I will keep the Europeans here long enough to teach you how to run a government." Those are not my words. That's the prophet. So let's stop begging for what we should be working hard to retrieve, but retrieve it ourselves, because the prophet is keeping the European here long enough to teach us how to run a government. That's his road. That's his writings. That's not me. Everybody should have access to this. This is what we should learn how to do. So ECT, what it's talking about is the seriousness of this divine and national movement. What organization has a divine and national movement? Divine, divine, divine. That has some spirituality and some righteousness into that, man. That's why in Moorish science, in Sufism, in Islamism, God and man is one. This is not no Christianity or no Islam. God and man is one. There's no feelings in this, man. So we got to understand that. There's no, in Moorish science, there's nobody sitting on no throne. But this is a divine and national movement, and it's to expound on what our mission is. And our mission is to uplift fallen humanity. All nations have missions to fulfill, and we will appoint missionaries to make certain that those missions are taken care of, Morris. So what's the definition of a state? Is a people permanently occupying a fixed territory bound together by common law, habits, and customs into one body politic, exercising through the medium of an organized government, independent sovereignty, and control over all persons and things within its boundaries, capable of making war and peace, and of entering into international relations with other communities of the globe. A political unity, concretely viewed, a state is a body politic possessing sovereignty. Any body politic possessing sovereignty is entitled to be called a state. I got them all. I got them. I got the turbulent affairs. And it's what it is. That's why I tell brothers, we don't listen to a person giving you a title or something that you go run and file some papers and then you become a stateless person. It's a one body politic. We got, and this is, that's why if we're doing things, we operate on one heartbeat. But this is a good characteristic to describe the Moorish Science Temple of America. The right one, how the temple set it up. Not know what we seeing, we call it, oh, these are temple Moors. I ain't talking about that. I ain't talking about them. I'm talking about the right ones. Because I've been to plenty of them. I have my own temple out here. So I understand what brothers be saying. Because I had some brothers at my temple and they wasn't right. And I shut it down. Because I'm not here for no one money. Nobody money. I'm like, if we're going to do things, we're going to do things together because we a business and we can create things. For real, man. We all should be obtaining a skill till we can have our own businesses. That's what an organized nation is. That's the root or the edimon to organization. Organized nation. I hope we know this, family. If we organize, we can do anything. The people described in state would be described as the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. And now when brothers be asking me, like my school is just a school. You're part of a school. But if you want to be part of the Moorish Science Temple of America, like I did, I paid the money. You know? So yeah, you can self-govern. Yes, you can proclaim things. Yes, you can proclaim things. When people say proclaim, but if you don't have due process, what is due process to proclaim something? Only certain individuals have that when certain laws are enforced. So we must understand that when yes, self-proclamation is one thing. Yes, that is great. That is great. But we have to be under a under auspices. And we should understand this. And just because you be nationalized through the Moorish Science Temple of America don't mean you are a member of the Moorish Science Temple of America, not of Detroit, Chicago, Los Angeles, of America. You can go to any temple. And if the temple is not right where you're going, you get out of there and you make a stand. But we don't bash. I'm not here to bash brothers and sisters. I'm here to spread light and illuminate. Illuminate means shed light on certain situations. Not to hurt a brother and go, you doing this and putting like we're going to blast someone. What you mean? We're not here to belittle our brother and tear our brothers and sisters down and hurt them. We're here to uplift fallen humanity. When you see the picture of the prophet, what he have in his hand? Fallen humanity. He got the woman. He got the woman in his hand. When I be telling brothers and sisters, the woman is Mayat. What you mean? The God that produced food and life. Are we crazy? We don't have no birthday. Every time our birthday, that's our mama birthday. Are we tripping? We're not under no other auspices to let someone connotate us under their false dogma. Come on, Moors. Come on, Moors. Each one with love, truth, peace, freedom, justice, health, and wealth, and operate in peace. Not on no mad dog stuff or no gangster Moor. When I be hearing people say, what's a gangster Moor? We are noble men. We are noble men, man. When I go places and other nationalities ask me questions, I stand in love and I explain it. When I have my fez on, I have a tassel, I explain what the tassel is. I explain why my tassel move around. I explain why I wear my fez all the time and I don't wear it in clandestine. They know. They know the difference from Muslim and Muslim. They know why they call themselves sons of Muslim and the joke of masonry. This ain't me. We don't wear our fez in clandestine our 230 degrees. You get your fez and your turban at 32, 30 degrees. I hope Moors know that. That's just what I call the 360 degrees. It's material wisdom. That's all that is. That's just material wisdom. 720 is the total sum of material and spiritual. So it's everything gets paid in layers, and we must be willing to study. And like I said, family, we're gonna start teaching the class, and we're gonna be having it. And I want family to donate, man. So I got literature, everything, books. We're gonna be structured. We teach civics, we teach math, history, law. Man, I tutor kids, and now they love to read. They love to look up all words. Be like, look that word up. Because if somebody's using the word to hurt you, you can use that word to combat that. Because I'm telling you, listen to what I said. You must understand the level of words and the etymon and the etymology of words. And what verb and adverb and all that. Why you think they teach our kids and they put them in the category person, place, and thing? We must know this science, this connotated science. This connotated science. This is bullcrap eugenics. They put you in the same category as person, place, and thing because that's ownership. That's title. That's chattel. How can a person be in the same jurisdiction as a place and a thing? As a black wallet, as a black phone. So that's nothing to argue about. You must understand that degree of that so you can combat that with facts. Just like eugenics. That's not our science. The Darwin theory, that's proven bullcrap. That's why I tell brothers and sisters, get out of our feelings. If we get out of our feelings and we get in science, I'm not saying I'm all-knowing. All I'm saying is I studied on the college degree and the European tried to say they didn't like my candor and I graduated with honors because I went all the way back in ancient history, what they didn't think I was going to go to. They thought I was going to stay under that degree when they started everybody in the 1700s. But no, we go to ancient history. We go to ancient history, man. We go to the Dark Ages, the Antiquity, the medieval times, the so-called Dark Ages. I'm telling you, man. You don't got to believe me. So when brothers be dissing education and wisdom, I say you can't be understanding who you are because education and wisdom and science come from Moors. The University of Salamanca in Spain, Moors. The University in Timbuktu, Moors. I mean, when brothers be connotating Ada Blavatsky, she got all her science from Moors. The secret doctrine, all that European, they tell you, if you study it, they tell you no science comes from the West. All science comes from the East, Moors. All you got to do is just study and ask questions and get with a scientist that's not here on no biasness. Because I'm not here on the biasness. I'm a scientist. So if I'm studying and I'm doing research, and I must be willing to change because we're here to master ourselves. We're here to continue to correct. We're here to, if we're doctors, you don't want to, commit malpractice to your brother. If you know the remedy to fix that, you should be willing to say, hey, this is the remedy. This is the arcana. This is what you need to self-heal. This is the alchemy. Come on, family. I know y'all. I hope we know what I'm talking about. I hope we all know what I'm talking about. But a body politic is defined as a social compact by which whole people covenant with each other, and each citizen with whole people. Because see, we fought for civil rights instead of human rights. See, this is law. And I don't. It really doesn't matter how we feel. No such thing as civil rights. But it is what it is. by certain law for common goods, also a term applied to a municipal, corporation, school district, country, or state, city, or public association. Exactly. Exactly. So when looking at the term government, we must really look at the essence of that word. And we can see this term has a connection with the term state. That's what I tell people, family. Study, study. And when I think I know something, I study some more. That's why I say this is science. And you must be, and it's a certain ones that's John Henry Clark, Amos Wilson, Sheikh Anna Diab, Ivan Van Sertima. But we do have those now that study that and took on a torch and teach the literature and produce literature. We already done produced 12 books of history. Now no biasness. And I just ask for support. This is real work we doing, man. But let's finish, man. But we're looking at the term government. We can see that this term has a connection with the term state. I told you all that. Government derived from the Latin term gubernalicums, Gubernaculums. Excuse my pronunciation. It might be off, but I spelled it for you. Which is defined as the system of polity in a state that form of fundamental rules and principles by which a nation or state is governed. Polity is the form of government, whether theocracy, federal, anarchy, etc. There are many forms of governments, but this particular form of government that the Moorish Science Temple of America is known is a what? Theocracy, right? Right, Morris? Theocracy. I hope we following me. A theocracy, Theocracy, is defined as government of a state by the immediate direction of God or by the assumed direction of a what? Superstitious divinity, or the state does govern. Yeah, your great uncle lived to 110, man. I'll show you the picture of my family from Ethiopia. They live. A lot of times, I got to stick on this, but when people talk about soul food and back then when they ate, a lot of times we didn't eat a lot of animals and things. We may have ate an animal on a celebration. That's once every blue moon. A lot of our foods was minerals from the earth, the things that we grew. That's why we were in such a good health. That's why we walked around in good things. We didn't drink cow milk. We drank our mother's milk. That's why we lived so long. That's why Europeans came to certain continents, because Europeans was dying at the age of 20 from all different diseases and things. You know, it wasn't no running toilets. And this is just science. And you can research this. We knew how to birth. So even when a lot of Europeans came to Egypt and to Kebalan or Meximum or whatever you want to call it, Pangea, they didn't believe that. And so people had to go back, you know. So yes, we did live for a longer time. We didn't have restaurants. We didn't have this pollution. We lived off the land. We grew things. A lot of us don't even grow fruits and vegetables. A lot of us think some is organic with no seeds. How can it be organic with no seeds? That's still GMO. That's still genetic modified organism. I don't care if it's organic. So nothing can be natural if it doesn't have seeds. How can you get a watermelon without seeds? So you must understand this. You must understand what kosher is and why the Hebrews and the more that are under Hebrew diet and what the Hebrew diet really is and what kosher really means. Kosher just means a way of cleaning things. That's all. So it's certain things we must know, and we get things connotated to us, and we get caught up in linguistic apartheid because we don't study, and we're not willing to be with someone that's willing to do the work and willing to say, study it, study it, study it, study it, study it, study it. Here go the artifacts. Here go the artifacts. A person arguing over some coloring things, and I have books from the museums in Egypt where they talk about the Moors. I have the maps of the ground plans of Louisiana Purchase, where you see the south up top, the north up about. It's so much. It's so much. And that's so we must be willing to be organized. And that's what I'm here to do. I'm not the only one. I have an expertise. And if we set up right, we can do this. That's all. You be nationalized through a Moorish Science Temple of America, you are part of a Moorish Science Temple of America. Period. That's it. You ain't got to go no ritual or none of that. If you under the right brother, I can teach you all the adapt chamber. That it's all about self-mastery. There's nothing outside of yourself, but you must be willing to do the work. The mystic and the prophet. I teach that, but you must be willing to do the work because it's self-mastery. That's what it is. And be willing to sacrifice your mind, body, and spirit and teach this on to your family. For we can teach our babies what we knew late. And they operate on love, truth, peace, freedom, justice, health, and wealth. They know who they are. Man, I was teaching about business at the elementaries, and these other nationalities, their children are graduating with business credit. Understanding business credit, understanding that's standing on its own entity. When they graduating from high school. And they graduating in high school. You know? We got to understand this. How are we going to have commerce? How are we going to trade amongst each other? Goods and services. How? If somebody just connotating and throwing spookism at you all the time. How can we, Moors? I hope y'all following me, Moors. How are we going to have a body politic? How are we going to be under our own and we don't understand commerce? We don't have nothing. You're nothing by yourself. Man, I hope we understand this deeper side. That's why when I teach in my classes, I have to start in prereqs because a lot of people want the advanced civics. And you can't give a person advanced civics before they've done their prereqs because they'll run away from with it and hurt themselves. You know? But then we must understand where I was at. Okay, I told you what a theocracy is. I gave you that. But as members of this body politic, we recognize the creator God, Allah alone guides the divine and national movement. A theocratic, Theocratic, Moors, entity differs from the form of a secular entity, right? The Moorish Science Temple of America is a divine and national movement that has divine laws and holy laws that each member are to uphold and preserve. And if any of us are to earn the name of faithful as afforded by Act 7 of our Moorish Divine Constitution and our bylaws. Come on, Moors. I know y'all, I hope we follow me. The origin. Drew Ali set it up. I ain't talking about nobody else. So let's get deeper. The Moorish Science Temple of America was established as a religious corporation, filing the affidavit of organization, document 1010-5905, form 1099 record. I show you the Moors all this. That's on all our IDs. I hope y'all know what this means. Record in the record of deeds office in the county of Cook, state of Illinois on August 1st, 1928 AD at 2:52 p.m. At the time through his affidavit. Keep in your mind affidavit. Holy Prophet Noble Drew Ali gave birth to a free national government as an ecclesiastical body politic and corporate under the revised status of the state of Illinois, chapter 36, section 36. Check out the science. Check out the science of this, Moors. So we know how to know why he set this temple up. And I'm not talking about nobody else's temple. We're not here. We're talking about how Noble Drew Ali set the temple up so you can be on your square. July 20th, 1928 was the third day in the beginning of a new moon during the sign of Virgo, Moors. August 1st, 1928 was the day of a full moon. Was it coincidence that July the 20th, 1928 AD, the Holy Prophet held a meeting, had the affidavit notarized, and recorded the affidavit on August 1st, 1928 AD at 2:52 p.m. Research this, science, Moors. The Hurd Smith Revised Status, Chapter 32, an act concerning corporations, Section 36, Religious Corporation Act, played a huge origin on establishing the Moorish Science Temple of America as an ecclesiastical. I hope y'all know what this is. Research it and remove the veil of spookism and dogma and walk in love, truth, peace, freedom, justice, health, and wealth. Come on. Understand the ecclesiastical body politic and corporate. How can any subordinate temple of the Moorish Science Temple of America not operate under the Hurd Smith revised status? Chapter 32, section 36. Because this act clearly states that, and I repeat, Moors, any church, congregation, to this, not electing is scratched out. Not electing. Listen to me. Understand whatever we want to say with the catchphrase. Understand what I'm saying. By not electing, cross-electing out your head, by appointing according to its usage or customs at any meeting held for that purpose, 2 or more trustees, warden, or vestryman. Research what that is. When he set it up, that's what a grand chief was. Now we're talking about appointed because they're supposed to be some under that fez. It's supposed to be some have a certain title who are similar to those of church. They couldn't burn all the books, family. They burned some, but all the books are not burned. They're there, and it's not hiding. I'm revealed a lot of stuff more. I'm part of the Philosophical Society. A lot of our history books are there. A lot of the history law books is there. When I tell brothers about the 13 colonies of who actually signed that, when I do lectures and we got to get in history, it's there. When I show you how they erase history of the Bunker Hill, so I show all this stuff. But anyway, let's get back to what we're talking about. Abolitic and corporate by the name adopted. Okay, so we trustees, right? Right, Moors? I shall be agreeable to the usage and customs, rules, or regulations of such congregation, church, or society, and may adopt a corporate name. And upon the filing, listen to me, Moors, of the affidavit, as hereinafter provided, it shall be and remain a body politic and corporate by the name so adopted. Huh? Fuck. PA 1809. You feel me? So as you see, Moors, when we study this religious corporation, at a glance at the affidavit of organization, Moors, follow me, which is the original form of number 1099, you will see how Noble Drew Ali followed the substantial form of this revised statute. Yes, honey. And then expressively organized a ecclesiastical body politic and corporate, Moors, known as the Moorish Science Temple of America. By that name so adopted, this simple pamphlet that I'm giving you, Moors, will end all the confusion and foolishness of those who say the prophet did not establish a nation state. It's about to log off, so log back in, family. We about to get deep. This just part 1. I'm going to give you part 2 and we done. Log back in 1 second. I'm going to log back on. Islam. I don't know, man. Hold on. Sorry about that, family. I'm trying to start. We're gonna log off and go to part 2 as soon as I get this right.